Welcome back to YIR in Review. We'll be briefly talking about the games I did not get a chance to cover. This is not a review, and I would not consider this part of my First Impressions series. With that out of the way, let's get started. Demon Turf is a 3D platformer that takes place within Hell. You play as a cute little demon girl named Beebs. She is on a mission to defeat the Demon King, and in order to do that, she must defeat all of his lieutenants, gain territory, and move on through each of the various worlds in Hell. You have a variety of level locations. You've got tropical resorts, you've got deep, dark, hellish mines, you've got all sorts of places you can go through. And I gotta say that this game really held my attention. I played it for about 3 hours. I really enjoyed it, but there are a couple things that you might find disappointing if you're coming off, the elephant in the room, the other games, one in particular, A Hat in Time. A Hat in Time came out a couple years ago, and it was a mind-blowing 3D platformer because there weren't not a whole lot of 3D platformers, but for this one to come out and be as good as it was just absurd. And Demon Turf is a 3D Collect-A-Thon platformer, but it is not in the same vein as A Hat in Time. It is not in the same vein as Mario Sunshine. It's kind of doing its own thing, and that's cool, but you gotta understand that, because if you go in here expecting another A Hat in Time, you're going to be a little disappointed. Demon Turf is more so about the platforming, and it's just laser focused on how you approach the level, how you get across platforms, how you approach its challenges, and that's about it. When you enter a world, there's no real cohesion. I mean, there's different levels, there's different variety, there's different eye candy, but when it comes to entering a world, in Sunshine, you would go into a world and it's like, oh, here's the casino world. Here's the amusement park world. Here is Noki Bay, this cool little resort world. It's neat, but in this game, you have the demon worlds, and okay, but it's mostly platforming. There's no little side area where everyone's just hanging out and you can do like a little mini game. It's all focused on just platforming. The world is pretty much just filled with platforms, and that's fine, but Demon Turf is on a much smaller scale, and it's not that kind of game that you're expecting. But it is very fun. Now, the game starting out has a pretty simple moveset, but the controls are excellent, and it really feels fun to use your limited moveset. You can do a dash jump, you can do a glide, you can do a wall jump, you can punch, you can do just a handful of abilities, but they're all fun enough. And as you progress through the game, in particular, when you get to the first boss, you actually get a hook shot, and there's 3 more items that increase your tool set of how you handle these platforming sections. So there is more, there is progression as you go, and there's also unlocks for going off the beaten path and collecting the various cakes and candies that are scattered throughout these worlds. You can get pets, you can get skins, you can get all kinds of little extras and unlocks. So if you do like to 100% games, this game does have that going for it. And also when you return to previous worlds, they are changed a little bit, so they have more rewards going back to them. Now, there are a couple negatives with Demon Turf. You do have the combat system. It's not very good. You kind of just punch enemies into spikes or hit them repeatedly until they die. It's not very interesting or fun, and unfortunately, these are the only variations you get from the platforming. It's just kind of sloppy overall, and it feels underdeveloped. Like, you can kind of tell what they were going for here, but it's just overall pretty boring. But everything else about the game is great. You have some great dialogue segments. The game kind of reminds me of this 80s mascot cartoon attitude generation. This weird time where every mascot had to be too cool for school. It kind of reminds me of that in a weird way. It's hard for me to explain. The music is amazing. It kind of falls into that vein. It almost reminds me of Jet Set Radio in that regard. So if you like what you see, and you come in with some tempered expectations, you're not getting another Hat in Time game. You're not getting all the mods from that game, all the DLC, all this extra crazy content. If you're going in and you're like, I want to play a simple, fun little 3D platformer, I got $20, I highly recommend this game. Go check out Demon Turf. It's pretty cool. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time. I'm out.